Where's Georgina? Asked Anne, looking round for her unknown cousin. Oh, the naughty girl. I told her to wait in the garden for you, said her aunt. Now she's gone off somewhere. I must tell you, children, you may find George a bit difficult at first. She's always been one on her own, you know. And at first may not like you being here. But you mustn't take any notice of that. She'll be all right in a short time. I was very glad for George's sake that you were able to come. She badly needs other children to play with. Do you call her George? Asked Anne, in surprise. I thought her name was Georgina. So it is, said her aunt. But George hates being a girl, and we have to call her George, as if she was a boy. The naughty girl won't answer if we call her Georgina. The children thought that Georgina sounded rather exciting. They wished she would come. But she didn't. Their Uncle Quentin suddenly appeared instead. He was a most extraordinary-looking man, very tall, very dark, and with a rather fierce frown on his wide forehead. "Hello, Quentin," said Daddy. "It's a long time since I've seen you. I hope these three won't disturb you very much in your work." "Quentin is working on a very difficult book," said Aunt Fanny. "But I've given him a room all to himself on the other side of the house. So I don't expect he will be disturbed." Their uncle looked at the three children, and nodded to them. The frown didn't come off his face, and they all felt a little scared, and were glad that he was to work in another part of the house. "Where's George?" he said, in a deep voice. "Gone off somewhere again," said Aunt Fanny, vexed. "I told her she was to stay here and meet her cousins." "She wants spanking," said Uncle Quentin. The children couldn't quite make out whether he was joking or not. "Well, children, I hope you have a good time here, and maybe you will knock a little common sense into George." There was no room at Kieran Cottage for Mother and Daddy to stay the night, so after a hurried supper they left to stay at a hotel in the nearest town. They would drive back to London immediately after breakfast the next day. So they said goodbye to the children that night. Georgina still hadn't appeared. "I'm sorry we haven't seen Georgina," said Mother. Just give her our love and tell her we hope she'll enjoy playing with Dick, Julian, and Anne. Then Mother and Daddy went. The children felt a little bit lonely as they saw the big car disappear round the corner of the road, but Aunt Fanny took them upstairs to show them their bedrooms, and they soon forgot to be sad. The two boys were to sleep together in a room with slanting ceilings at the top of the house. It had a marvelous view of the bay. The boys were really delighted with it. Anne was to sleep with Georgina in a smaller room, whose windows looked over the moors at the back of the house. But one side window looked over the sea, which pleased Anne very much. It was a nice room, and red roses nodded their heads in at the window. "I do wish Georgina would come," Anne said to her aunt. "I want to see what she's like." "Well, she's a funny little girl," said her aunt. "She can be very rude and haughty, but she's kind at heart, very loyal and absolutely truthful." "Once she makes friends with you, she will always be your friend, but she finds it very difficult indeed to make friends, which is a great pity." Anne suddenly yawned. The boys frowned at her, because they knew what would happen next. And it did. "Poor Anne! How tired you are. You must all go to bed straight away, and have a good long night. Then you will wake up quite fresh tomorrow," said Aunt Fanny. "Anne, you are an idiot," said Dick, crossly, when his aunt had gone out of the room. "You know quite well what grown-ups think as soon as we yawn." "I did want to go down on the beach for a while." "I'm so sorry," said Anne.